Hi everyone, welcome to YaguTamizhi. In this video, we are going to discuss availability zone part 2. In the previous video, we have discussed about availability zone infrastructure. If you are still not watching the previous video, please go and watch the video. I will provide the link in the description. If you go to this our playlist, I will provide the playlist link also. If you see 3.1, 3.2 and 3.3, please go and watch this three videos if you are still not watched that videos. In this 3.1 we discuss about what is Azure data centers, and in the second video we will discuss what is Azure region. In the third video we have discussed about what is availability zones infrastructures. Now in this video, with the help of this availability zone, how make sure our service available, we have going to discuss in this video. Now we'll see. These are the things we have discussed about the previous videos. This is nothing but this is Azure data center. Whatever the service we are creating in Azure, everything is going to deploy inside the Azure data center. Inside the Azure data center, they are providing having server racks, everything is going to deploy here, and everything is managed by the Microsoft people. And this is they called as Azure data center. And the Azure data centers groups together, they called availability zone 1. This is zone, and the zones together to make region. So the region is nothing but is the cluster of zones, and zone is nothing but it is a cluster of data center, and data center is nothing but it is the cluster of server racks. Inside the servers our services going to be deployed, and we are directly using our all the services inside the data center. Okay, I hope you understand these things. Now we will see with the help of this availability zone how we can make sure our service available. Now we will start from one basic example. Assume that the past few years we are running our business. We are selling our products through online with the help of e-commerce website. Assume that this is our e-commerce website, and this server we are hosted in our on-premises. On-premises is nothing but everything, the server, hardware, network, cable, everything for this particular server we have to manage. That is called on-premises. If everything is managed by Azure, then we can use cloud servers. Okay, so this entire thing we are managing through our on-premises data center. We provide the people to manage everything. And another thing is, the past few years we analyze the data. Our all the customers is coming from the particular region. Example we can take as East to US region. So all the customers from our website, they are coming from East US location. But most of the time our customers face a problem is nothing but our server going down. Why? So on the time our customers, what they will do, they will going to purchase the same product into the another e-commerce website. So what will happen, it will directly affect our business. So what these people is thinking, why? Because the server is down, everything is managed in the on-premises, so we have to take care everything. Anything happen to the hardware level failure or network or something, so most of the time our servers in the on-premises got failed due to power outage or network outage or hardware failure. So if anything happen, it is time take to replace everything, right? If anything hardware failure, then we have to replace with the new hardware, then we have to run our server from, it will take some time. So in the middle of this time, our most of the customer went to another e-commerce website, so it directly affect our business. So this kind of website we called as business critical application. This application will run the entire business. So this business people, what they are thinking is, okay, it is very difficult to manage all the things from our end, so we will directly go and deploy into the cloud environment. So they are choosing Azure cloud, and they have two conditions from their end. Okay, the first condition is all the customers from their website is come from the East to US location. So they are planning to deploy their server in the East to US region. And second condition is they already facing server down for most of the time due to network power and hardware. So most of the customer, they are going to another competitor e-commerce website. So now they planning to deploy. Okay, in this case we have one server, it will be going down, so it will affect our business. So in cloud it is comparatively less cost when we are managing the cost in the on premises. So we will create the same server image in the 3 servers in the cloud. Example, in on-premise we are only managing the single server, but the same thing in Azure, we are planning to create 3 identical servers. 3 identical servers. In each server, they planning to deploy the same server website. Example, same e-commerce website they planning to deploy here. Example, you can take a Flipkart or Amazon, everything like that. They are one of the e-commerce website. So they deploying 3 different virtual machines. Example, this is server 1, server 2 and server 3. So in cloud point of view, we can tell this server as virtual machine. So we can virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2 and virtual machine 3. So they planning to deploy this 3 virtual machine. Why? Because if anything happen to the first server, anything in cloud point of view also, some case anything network or failure or any natural disaster like earthquake or tsunami, there is a possibility the server going to down. So they planning to they create 3 servers. So if anything happen to the first server, still their customers can able to access their e-commerce website through server 2 and server 3. So this is the condition. First one is they are going to deploy in region East US, and second condition is they are going to deploy in 3 identical servers. So now we'll come to the problem. Ideally, if we are planning to deploy our server in Azure region, assume that in Azure, example East US, right? Example, consider this is our East US region. East US region, we have multiple data centers. Like here we have data center 1, and here we have data center 2, and here we have data center 3. Okay, data center 1. So, and this data center they form as zone 1, zone 2 and zone 3. Okay, this zones we will see later. As of now, we assume that we have inside the East US location we have 3 data centers. Okay, now our this business people directly go to the Azure and they are asking, we are going to deploy these servers into the East US region. So but Azure, what they will do is they are not allowing us to choose the region. They are not allowing to choose the data centers in the same region. Example, if you want to deploy our server in the East US region, right, but they only allow us to choose the East US region. They are not allowing inside the East US location, they are not allowing us to choose data center 1, data center 2, data center 3. Why? Because why we need 3 data centers to deploy 3 different servers? If anything happen to the entire data center here, still if we deploy our server in the data center 2 and data center 3, and each data center is physically separated by 100 to 60 kilometers, then still our server is available in data center 2 and 3. That's why our business people planning to deploy in different data centers. But ideally Microsoft Azure will not allow to choose the data centers, and also they not expose this data center, how many data center inside the each region. So this is the problem facing by our business people. Why? Because in case only Microsoft Azure only allow us to choose region, right? In case we are creating 3 servers inside the same region, then if there is any possibilities, right, all the 3 servers maybe Azure will deploy in the same data center. So what happen if anything happen in the natural disaster in the particular area, then the entire data centers go down. So our entire 3 servers also go down, right? So there is no use for us for creating 3 servers. That is the problem we are facing. So that only Microsoft give an option to deploy this kind of business application, they are introducing zones. So zone is nothing but it is the combination of data centers. Maybe example here, this is the data center 1, and may they have near to this data center they have multiple data centers. Okay, then they will combine this entire data center, then they will call it as zone 1. Likewise, we can call here we have cluster of data centers, then this data center they called as zone 2, and here this one they called as zone 3, and each zone is physically separated by 100 to 60 kilometers each zone. So Microsoft announces availability zone. So with the help of this availability zone, what we can do is, whenever we planning to deploy our server inside the Azure environment in the East US location, we can able to choose the zone 1, zone 2 and zone 3. They are not allowed us to choose the data center. Instead of they giving zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. Inside the each zone we may contain multiple data center, but we can able to choose zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. Example, we can see this. We can able to deploy our first server in the zone 1, likewise in the second server in the zone 2, and third server in the zone 3. So what it is physically happening is, the our first server is going to deploy in the zone 1, likewise our second server is going to deploy in the zone 2, and third server is going to deploy in the zone 3. So our server, if anything happen to the entire zone 1, our servers go down, but still our server is available in the zone 2 and zone 3. So we can our customer can able to access our server. This is the reason we need availability zone. In case if there is no availability zone is present, then if you are choosing 3 servers in the same East US location, then there is a possibility Azure will deploy. Azure may don't know this is the business critical application, they should deploy in the 3 different location, but whenever we choose East US location, all the things maybe is possible to deploy in the same data center. If anything happen to the entire data center level failure, then all the 3 data center is failed. All the 3 servers going to fail. That's why Microsoft Azure allow us to choose the zone inside the East US location. So we can able to deploy our different servers in the different zones. This way we need availability zone. I hope you get some better understanding why we need availability zone. I will show you here. I take the screenshot from Azure portal. You can able to see here. If you scroll down here, yeah, you can able to see whenever you choose any region that support availability zone, then it's showing this option like zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. This is availability zone. Here you can see 1, 2, 3. Okay, in this case we are planning to create 3 servers, right? So we can directly choose the first server in the zone 1, and the second server in the zone 2, and third server in the zone 3. So it is deployed in the 3 different zone in the same region, East US region. So anything happen to the zone 1, still our application is still available in the zone 2 and zone 3. This is what we need availability zone. Yeah, now we'll see these things theoretically. I hope if you are watching my first part 1 availability zone, you can able to easily understand this theoretical part. Now we'll see the first point. Region is a separate geographical area. This region is nothing but it is one of the place in the geographical area. Assume that this is the world map. You can able to see this is a zone, and this is the one region, this is one region, this is one region. Likewise, we have more than 60 plus region all over the world. Azure have more than 60 plus region. So region is nothing but it is the separate geographical area, and data centers group together availability zone. Yeah, we already see here in this example. You can see 1 minute. We already discussed. Okay, the data centers groups together availability zone, and availability zone groups together the region. This is what I got mentioned here. You can see second point, the data centers group together availability zone, and availability zone group together region. Yeah, this is I hope you understand. And here you have to think, okay, all the region is not supporting to availability zone, right? So that is the point I am mentioning here. If I have mentioned in the previous video, please go and watch that. You can get the clear idea. Okay, if you see fourth point, not all regions support for availability zone. If the region is support for the availability zone, it should contain 3 or more data centers, and each data center is physically separated by 100 to 60 kilometers. That point we have to know. Okay, that one. Zone is 1 or more data center, and each zone we have 1 or more data center. That also we have discussed, right? If example, if we take this zone 1, we have Each zone we may contain one data center or one or more data center. That is what I am mentioning here. Each data center has separate power, network, cooling. Yeah. In example, assume that this is the data center is inside the zone 1. Each data center containing separate power, network, cooling, everything. If anything happen to network failure or power outage to the data center, this particular data center, still this data center are still available. Why? Because everything is separated from each other. So each data center has separate network, power, cooling, everything. That's what I mentioned here. And see, and each availability zone in a region physically separated by several kilometers. Example, 100 to 60 kilometers. Yes, we already discussed this in the previous video. Example, assume that this is zone 1 and zone 2, zone 3, and each zone is physically separated by 100 to 60 kilometers. Why? Because if anything happened to the zone level failure due to natural disaster, earthquake or tsunami, still it is separated by several kilometers, so it is not affect to this zones. So each zone is connected with high bandwidth cable. So if anything happen to the zone 1, it is transfer all the things to the zone 1, so our customer can able to access in the zone 2. That's what I mentioning this point. And if we see next point, designed to protect from the data center level failure. Yeah, availability zone is designed to fail to protect overcome from data center failure. Yeah, we are discussed, right? If anything happen to the zone 1, the entire thing we can able to protect from to replicate to the zone 2, so we can able to overcome from the data center or zone level failures. That's why we need availability zone. And traffic between these zones are encrypted. Yeah, if I already mentioned that each zone is connected with the high bandwidth cable. We have underground cables. Using with the help of this, anything happen to the zone 1 or zone 2, everything is transferred to the zone 2. So all the things is passing through this underground cables, and these cables all the data is passing through encrypted manner. So if anything is hacked, they are not able to read the value. So that they are mentioning traffic between zones are encrypted. And if you see the next point, availability zones are connected via high bandwidth connection, hence ultra low latency. Yeah, I already told that the each availability zones are connected with the high bandwidth connection, so they are transferring all the data from zone 1 to zone 3 with the very less latency. Latency is nothing but late feeling. If anything we going to request the server, it will give response after 5 or 6 seconds. That is called latency. But here is the case is low latency. Low latency is nothing but ultra speed. If anything transfer here from zone 1 to zone 3, it is transfer with in 2 or 3 milliseconds. That they called as ultra low latency. And we can see, if you see the next point, we are not allowed to choose the data center in region, but we can choose zones. Yeah, this point we already discussed, right? In the same region we are not allowed to choose the data centers, but we have Microsoft have one option. We can able to choose the zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. That what we discussed, right? We can able to choose in the different zones. So our servers going to deploy in the different zones, and each zone is separated physically 100 to 60 kilometers. So if anything happen to the zone 1, it is not affecting to our remaining zones. Yeah, with the help of zones we can make sure our service available. Yeah, if anything happen to the zone 1, still our services are still available in zone 2 and zone 3, right? So it is not facing any downtime for our customers, so they can able to go to our website and they can purchase our services. And they are classified into categories. Zones are available for virtual machine and disk. Yeah, whenever virtual machine is nothing but it is the physical server in our on-premises environment. The same environment we are creating in the Azure, we called as virtual machines. Whenever we choosing virtual machine, they have an option called availability zone. We can able to choose. In case we are planning to deploy 2 or 3 virtual machine, identical virtual machine in the same zone, same region, but in different zones, then we have to choose this option. This is why we need availability zone in Azure. I hope you understand what is availability zone, and with the help of availability zone, how we can make sure our service available. Yeah guys, I hope you understand. We will see in the next video. Thank you.